Hey, welcome to Petty Talks with Deja. Okay, y'all, we need to talk about Zeus because what is happening right now, actually this happened like 3 days ago, but I'm just getting around and recording right now. Um, because Jocelyn Hernandez basically came out swinging. She was exposing Lemmy, making abuse allegations, like people talking to FBI, Scotty, Janisha, dead bodies in the office, lawsuits. I mean, honestly, this is giving like messy, dark, and honestly, just what a lot of people already suspected of Zeus. I can pretend to be shocked. Oh, I'm shocked. Not really. Anyway, so Jocelyn puts out a video and she basically is saying that Lemmy is trying to sue her for speaking out. And he's like keeping money away from her and not wanting to give her her money unless she takes down certain videos. And in that process, she just starts dropping all kinds of bombs. Like, you can tell she's in her car. She's clearly upset. She's crying. She's also pregnant right now, so I really do hate that for her. Like, I hope that she can, just wait a couple months, drop that baby off, and then get to this, because that hypertension, especially for black women, like, you don't want to be, getting your blood pressure up and stuff like that. Like, I just really need her to, like, just calm down. Ballistic needs to just take the phone. I mean, he a bitch, too. Ooh. But he he ain't no better than Lemmy either. But anyway, so back to the video that Jocelyn did. So one of the first claims that she made, well, I didn't watch the full video because I'm like, listening to Jocelyn talking and she crying and stuff. I'm like, oh, I couldn't do it. But one of the allegations that she made was about Janisha. So the biggest things that she said was Lemmy had been allegedly abusing Janisha. Not surprised. I could pretend to be, for y'all. Oh, I'm shocked. But she even said that Janisha was supposedly calling the FBI because of everything that was going on. Now, do I personally know if Janisha called the FBI? No. But do I believe that exact part? Look, child. Honestly, do I believe that the allegations are impossible? Absolutely not. Because when multiple women keep being connected to the same type of story, at some point, people are going to start side-eyeing. Because this isn't just Janisha. People have been talking about Scotty, the cheating, the disrespect, the verbal abuse. And honestly, like, we watched how Scotty was treated publicly. Like, let's stop acting brand new. We saw enough to know that the respect over there at Zeus was not overflowing. So we've already been hearing stuff about Scotty being abused. I've never really heard anything about Janisha being abused, because by the time that the shows really started popping, it was being said that the only thing that he was doing to Janisha was cheating on her with multiple women. But, there's always been claims of him, being like sexually irresponsible, always sleeping with the cast members and giving them multiple STIs. The biggest one was like chlamydia. He supposedly allegedly gave Scotty chlamydia while she was pregnant. I had never heard, for like my recollection, that he ever put his hands on Janisha. But honestly, I wouldn't, like, it's not too far out there to believe, with everything else that's been said about how he abuses women, how he treats women. Is honestly not. Lemmy is a loser. That man is a loser. But anyway, so another allegation that not Scotty, but Jocelyn made was that apparently there was a dead body in the Zeus office. Can we get somebody to look into this? Now, that is all of this is serious claims, but where the hell is dead body at? Like, did they wheel it out the back door and just say, hey, we're going to call the police once we get it down the block? Like, what's going on? Like, that is a very huge claim. And I'm not about to sit here and act like, I know that it's factual or whatever. But the fact that Zeus even, like, has that kind of reputation where people can hear that and go, honestly, maybe. Because, honestly, hearing that there was a dead body in it, I'm like, somebody probably died of exhaustion. Like, my mind is already thinking of ways of, like, how this is possible, because the fact that it could be impossible is not even a part of the conversation, because somebody probably died of exhaustion. Honestly, a big part of the conversation that I've been seeing recently, as far as like the women and the constant fighting and the constant drinking and not eating enough and getting enough nutrition and substance, when your body is always in fight or flight mode, you know what I mean? Like, we already live in America. We're not gonna talk about that. We are the black women living in America, and we are dealing with enough. But we are, and on top of everything that you have to deal with, you are going into work, because they're going into work, and you having to fight people, your blood pressure is up, like your cortisol, all this stuff is up. You also are drinking. You also are not getting enough food. They eating fast food. They eating chips. You know what I mean? They ain't even eating no tuna fish and crackers that might have some more sustenance than the damn weed they smoking, than the tequila sandwiches that they drinking. Like, these women's bodies are always in fight or flight mode, and it's more than fight, okay? Because if you flight, you're gonna be kicked off the show. You better get your ass out there and put them hands up, them fisticuffs. Like, they are always having to be in fight mode. So whenever it comes to like their health, like, honestly, I can see somebody dying in Zeus and it just being like, well, that's another dead body. I seriously do, just hope that these women are staying on top of their health, that they're going to the doctor, that they're making, and not just for like, I slept with Lemmy and I'm burning, but I hope that they're going to the doctor, doing a biometrics testing, that they get in, they blood drawn, making sure that everything is okay, checking them HDL, LDL numbers, because I know that there are going to be heart problems in the future. It's like, it's inevitable, honestly. Another thing, like, is the morality problem, because, look, let's be real. Anybody who watches Zeus knows morals, the ethics, the stability, that's not their strongest traits. And Jocelyn, she was really calling that out in her video. But here's my problem with Jocelyn. Look, I need her to hold a mirror to her damn face, because, girl, you cannot sit here and act like Lemmy is the only monster when we watched you. Like, Jocelyn, we saw your show. We saw the violence. We saw the chaos. We saw women getting humiliated. We saw you being your own version of toxic. So it's like, yes, Lemmy is absolutely wrong. He will always be wrong. And I'm never going to even say anything other than that. Jocelyn also, acting like you were some innocent victim who had no part in the harmful culture. Girl, you absolutely did. Lemmy was not on set every day. It was you and your husband that was on set. Lemmy even said like, oh, what about your husband? Like, have your husband call me or whatever. Absolutely, girl, have your husband call me. But your husband don't want to call me because he want to put his hands on the women. The truth is that Ballistic is no better than Lemmy. They're about the same. They like to disrespect women, put their hands on women, and do stuff like that. You sitting over there, sitting next to an abuser, having a baby with an abuser, a man. I'm not gonna say who let you, because, girl, that's your drug addiction. And I'm not saying it in a bad way, because people who are going through drug addiction, I truly do feel for them, and I hope that they can fight those demons. But, girl, this man, he probably wasn't even on coke, but he was, no, I'm not saying let you be on coke, but he probably wouldn't even want to know better for you. You know what I mean? Like, he probably wouldn't want to know better. Or, it's possible that he probably was on coke. Because he just didn't give me that he was on drugs. He gave me that, like, you know what, she's on drugs, but she's also letting me spend all her money, so I'm not going to really do nothing. They always try to make it seem like Ballistic is this huge producer. He can produce the hell out of her songs, because that, I like the way you are. I like the way you are. Like, the songs, they hit like grit. You know what I mean? Like, they sticking. The ones with with Stevie, they weren't really doing that much numbers, but when it comes to Ballistics, it actually is good. But my point is that Ballistic is not a great person. You sitting over there talking about Lemmy when you sitting over there to the devil. You talking about the devil when the devil is in your bed, baby. Come on, what are you talking about? But anyway, so she starts talking about like, oh, I was 31, like her whole age excuse. And that's another thing. I'm so tired of her, using her age like she was some clueless child. Like, you talking about like he was 15 by 81, by 31, like after Stevie, after Mona, after Love and Hip Hop, after VH1, girl, you already knew this industry. You knew the exploitation. You knew the mess. Like, you were on one side of the exploitation. You already saw how these people were moving. And that's what she said in the video. Like, I already saw how these people were moving, and I already had. So if you knew how they were moving, then why didn't you remove yourself from that situation? Why didn't you make sure that, you know what, I'm going to start my own stuff, and even if I do join Zeus because they have a bigger budget, not as big as Love and Hip Hop, but they do have a bigger budget than what I could produce and what I can afford, and they can make my dream come true. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to treat these girls with respect. I'm going to do them exactly how I want to. We're going to do a nice little, cabaret thing. People were saying that Jocelyn got better, like, in the later season. I watched a couple of the seasons, so I didn't really get to see her get better. But as far as like the ones that started, like she was putting her hands on them girls left, right, and center. You know, it's don't disrespect Jocelyn or you gonna get your ass whooped. You know, like that was the culture over there. You know, you're gonna get your ass whooped by her, you're gonna get your ass whooped by her husband, and you might have to sleep with her, you know, to keep your spot. So like everything that Jocelyn was saying that Zeus was, or Zeus and Lemmy was, that was her. You know, like, so no, you know, we're not just like, you're young, you know, at some point right now, you've grown, girl, you've grown from all of that. You started with you started with Stevie when you were 23, you were 31. What is that, like 7 8 years? 7 8 years that you did not learn anything. It must have been the coke. But anyway, so Johnson also says that, you know, Lemmy had people in Israel and all that kind of stuff. We already know that his dad is the Bishop of Israel, so we're not even going to get into that, really. Like, we already know what type of person that Lemmy is. Like, let's just be honest. He is stupid at... He just not the smart of a person. And, you know, he has ties to, like, this very genocidal place. You know, that's why they be saying that that Zeus Network is a CIA psyop. It probably is. It probably is melting our brains. Okay, they're literally using that show to melt our brains. That's probably why he always got them glasses on. They brain melting blockers. That's probably what it is. But he also said that she also said that he had people threatening her, like private block calls, calling her, threatening her, and, you know, she pregnant. And then I did watch one clip, and he said, like, he kicked her in her belly and she's pregnant. I don't know how true that is. Don't quote me. I'm not saying that happened. I'm just gonna say allegedly, because I don't know that happened. But honestly, like, Lemmy, he just really gives like weird that people, you know, like, honestly, I just believe it. I just believe it. You know, like him threatening her, doing like the block calls, like all that kind of stuff, like just having people on the team, like, you know, you stupid, blah, 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 you know, just trying to make that pressure go up so she probably lose that baby. That's the type of person he seems to be. That's probably what he was trying to do to Scotty as well. And then there was like the Surviving Zeus documentary. Now we got the whole Surviving Zeus documentary conversation. Big Kiva that we only saw for one season. Barely one season, because, you know, she was a replacement. She wasn't really on there. Like, she wants in, but she was also saying, like, her video was getting on my nerves, but she was also saying, like, basically, Jocelyn, you and him are the same person. They are. I'm glad she clocked that and said, yeah, y'all are the same person. Y'all trying to make it seem like, you know, one is worse than the other, but y'all are exactly the same amount of worse. He might be worse because he do got more. He might be you worse, but he worser. You know, he has more money than you. He has more money to exploit people, you know, and we're going to see that in a little bit. But he just has more capital to be able to do even worse stuff, you know. But, like, y'all are the same amount of worse. If you had the same amount of money he does, then you would be doing the same worse stuff. Girl, let's be honest. Like, let's seriously be honest. Apparently, Akbar got contacted about it. You know, Akbar, she did allude to, like, Lemmy being an issue or a problem, too. And that's why she no longer wants to work with them anymore. This is a side note. I saw a video of Akbar, and she was talking to this guy. She was very clearly drunk. The guy, he was real fine. And she said, like, oh, what do you do? And he said, what if I need to, or what if I got to? Ooh. I said, ooh, babe, daddy. But, anyways, I was like, I see why Akbar be having all them damn kids. She really is a flirt. I wouldn't expect that from her because, I don't know why she's bald-headed. Like, I don't know. I just don't like that look on her. But anyways, so everybody definitely has, you know, their own stories. Now, personally, I absolutely believe that the Zeus documentary is inevitable, but I don't know that Jocelyn should be the face of it. Because to make this really a hit, to make this really mess with Zeus, their money, their credibility, to really have people just start unsubscribing and stop watching, and people being like, you know what, I wanted to go to the Zeus auditions because I wanted to get on the show, because I want to make money, because the world is so bleak right now. But also, I'm seeing this documentary, like, people are not just gonna be like, okay, this documentary of him allegedly, like, none of this stuff was proven. Girl, you're gonna have to have receipts, and it can't be by a former coke addict that was also beating on women on the show. Like, let's just be honest. But You'll need everybody. Like, you're gonna need Tommy, Scotty, former cast members, producers, like real receipts. You're gonna need people that are currently with Zeus. Like, otherwise it just turns to like messy allegations without enough proof. And although yes, we do know that this stuff is absolutely true, you know, allegedly, quote unquote allegedly, but we know that this stuff is true. But you gonna need these people to be like, you know what, it's no, this didn't happen. No, it's, I'm the proof because I saw this stuff. And also, here's a video that's happening, you know, because somebody definitely has videos, they got audio, they got all this stuff, but it's not being seen because, of course, you know, nobody wants to come out and nobody wants to say it. But anyways, some of the cabaret girls, they were getting online, they were getting paid off by Lemmy. Clearly, they were getting like $15,000, $10,000. Some of them probably getting $3,000. They was just happy for an extra check. You know, this is allegedly because we don't know that he pays them off. But they were coming out and they were just basically saying that Jocelyn's a liar. Lemmy is great. We love Lemmy. Lemmy is the most supreme God. Lemmy walks on water. Lemmy never would drink blood from babies. Lemmy would never have a dead body in his office and not report it or underreported or, you know, had them wait a couple minutes until everybody come in inside they life altering checks. You know, when I say life altering, I don't mean in a good way. I mean it's altering their life and messing up their cortisol levels. Like, you know, they were basically just coming out and saying that Jocelyn was a horrible person. And it definitely was hush money. You know, he was definitely saying like, here, look, you know, a couple bands to say something nice about me and to make it seem like I did not do these things. And honestly, my biggest issue with Lemmy is how unserious he acts about this whole stuff. Like, he was doing like memes and jokes and like internet antics. And my thing is like, people are saying that you are paying women off to discredit a woman, saying that you were being disrespectful. People are saying that you were beating on your two partners that we know that you've had, you know, Janisha and Scotty. Like, people are saying that you have been, you know, giving people chlamydia and being very mishandling like your sexual health and stuff like that, and intentionally spreading your like diseases around the cast and stuff. Like all these allegations, and you sitting out here putting memes up. Like, you sitting out here putting memes up and you thinking that these cabaret girls, that yes, they were being abused by Jocelyn, but you ain't no better. You just from one abuser to the next, and they just trying to get their paper. You know what I mean? So I can't even really blame them if I'm being honest. You know, but I do think that when, you know, the stuff hits the fan for them, they gonna be trying to join their Zeus document and they gonna have to explain themselves. See, that's why you don't say nothing. You know, you take the money and you just stay silent. I would like, look, I'm not gonna defend you, but I will stay silent. I won't say nothing, you know. But like him doing like the memes and stuff like that, it's just tired, it's late, it's through. Like, girl, grow up, you know, like actually take some of this serious. You can just tell that he really feels like nothing can touch him. When I tell you that the Enrico case, when I tell you the FBI gonna be on his ass like white on rice, and he is gonna have his head spinning. He gonna be trying to go over to Israel, okay? And like, nah, you can't get me. My father's the Bishop of Israel. Girl, when them people, the CIA gonna come get his ass. Anyways. But like honestly, Zeus may have built itself off of like chaos, but eventually the same people that you exploited, just how what they do in the Jocelyn right now, where you can give them a couple of bands and then they will talk about Jocelyn, but them same women that you exploited and the other ones that are on like, you know, Baddies, the other show that was Baddies Gone Wild, Bad Boys, all of that, like the ones that you exploited, humiliated, that you disrespected, they will start talking. You know, they not gonna keep their mouth closed for long, because Zeus is not gonna last that long. You know, every dog has his day. What is it? Every dog has his day. And in the fun when the rabbit's got the gun. And right now, Lemmy might, you know, finally be dealing with the consequences of the culture that he definitely helped build, that he set in place, that he put in motion. But just let me know what y'all think. Is Jocelyn exposing the real truth to y'all? Or is she just deflecting from her own toxic past? And do y'all think that surviving Zeus is really coming? If it does come, what y'all watch? This has been Petty Talks with Deja, and I'll catch y'all on the next one, because this story is definitely not over. Okay, as soon as it keeps on coming out, and I'll just keep on updating y'all. But thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.